Welcome to the John Clarence Show, Mike.
Thank you for having me, John.
Yes, this is my first question. How do you start as a musical theater actor? How do you start as a musical theater actor?
Well, in my case, it was actually an accident because I was playing in a lot of bands, and then a guy that I was playing in a band with wrote a musical, and he put me in it, and it ended up being a really big success. And so then I ended up doing a lot more musicals.
What is the first musical do you act? The first theater or the first theater musical do you act? The first theater.
Well, I did lots and lots at school and a few at uni, but the first professional musical that I did was called Keating the Musical. That was a musical about an old Australian Prime Minister called Paul Keating.
Keating the musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Keating. Film. Do you act in film like movies in screen or
No,
TV?
I've never been in a film. I've done quite a lot of TV work, but I think I'll probably become a movie star in the next 5 years or so. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
It is easy to become a musical theater actor. It is easy to become a theater actor. It is very easy or hard or difficult or medium.
I think it's quite difficult to become a music theatre actor because um, there are a lot of different skills you have to have if you want to be a good music theatre actor. There are a lot of people who are naturally good actors and maybe even naturally good singers. But if you want to be a music theatre actor, you have to be a very good actor, a very good singer, and very good dancer as well. So there's a level of fitness required, mental fitness, physical fitness. So I think like you said, I think it's quite difficult to be a music theatre actor.
I saw you in a video on YouTube with Amelie Palmer. Do you know that?
I
Amelie
didn't. What
Palmer.
what video was it? Oh yeah, I know. Amy's a really good friend. What was the video that you saw?
The video I saw is the video I saw is a delivery of love, Donna telegrams.
Oh wow, that's
Yes, I
going.
watched.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I invite you when I saw the
Oh, that's
video.
great. Yeah, Amy's a very talented everything really. She's an amazing woman, and I was very happy to be a part of that series as well.
She is she is she is a cast in the Australian musical production of Australian production of The Sound of Music. Do you
That's
know
right.
that?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She played the lead role.
She played the she played the lead role. What's happened in Melbourne today? Are you in Melbourne?
Yes.
Yes. Because I saw in the news on the internet, is there a lockdown in Victoria, state of
There
Victoria?
sure is.
Yes.
There sure is. It's called
Because
so weird.
because in my country, in the Philippines, the government, our president, declared a lockdown again in a 2-week lockdown in Metro Manila to become
Now a 2 week
safe.
lockdown.
Safe. Yes,
So a 2 week lockdown now.
in Manila, in my country, the lockdown is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The and the end of the lockdown is on August 18. The in Manila, we
Yeah.
cannot we
In Melbourne, the lockdown is for 6 weeks. And it's quite a severe lockdown because we started having a lot of coronavirus cases. So the Premier of Victoria decided to go to what's called stage 4 restrictions, which is quite, we have a curfew. No one's allowed out between 8 o'clock at night and 5 o'clock in the morning. There are only certain reasons you're allowed to leave your house. But we're hoping that so our lockdown doesn't finish until September sometime. I try not to think about it too much, but yeah, it's a pretty crazy time. But I mean, same in the Philippines, same everywhere.
but there are many countries that have no lockdowns, like Indonesia, Belarus. Belarus is a country in Europe. Do you know that
Yep,
country?
yep.
Belarus is a dictatorship country ruled by Alexander Lukashenko. And South Korea, there are no lockdown in South Korea today.
And Vietnam as well, yeah.
Yes, Vietnam. And even in Cuba and Venezuela, because Cuba and Venezuela is a socialist state, their healthcare is free, so many people are very healthy in their country.
And
In
also New Zealand.
Cuba,
New Zealand's fine as well.
yes, I saw in the news.
Yeah, so I shouldn't say it's the same everywhere, but I suppose when
Yes.
you're in the middle of a lockdown, it feels like you and me are brothers in this, John. We're going through the same thing.
In Because in my country, in the Philippines, in Manila, lockdown here is very restricted. There are many army and police in the street. In Melbourne, in Victoria, there are there a police in the street? Are there a police or military in the street patrolling in Victoria, just like in my country, the Philippines?
There are definitely a lot of Victoria Police patrolling. I haven't seen a big military presence. You
Yes,
do see
yes,
quite a lot of. I've seen a couple of. I think I've seen one. What's a military helicopter, but it might have been a police helicopter, so I don't
yes,
want to guess. But so far here, it's mainly the Victoria Police who are taking care
yes,
of it,
yes.
and there's no military on the
Yes,
streets.
because in our country, in the Philippines, because we know that my country is a third world country. Many people in my country in the Philippines are people with no discipline. So the government create an experiment to scare the people. So they use both military and police to patrol the streets, to
And do you
discipline the
feel like
people,
it's been
to
working?
encourage, because the Philippine government is encourage the Filipino people to stay at home. And there is a good news in the Philippines. In the Philippines, the Philippine government will give money to people in the lockdown,
That's great.
because there are many news in the Philippines that saying that the government will give 15,000 pesos or some 8,000 pesos.
Well, I think any government that offers to support their people during this time it's a good thing.
In in Aus- in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, is your government giving money to the people in the lockdown, some benefits, some welfare benefits to the people?
Yes.
Wow. What is kind of money? Because in the Philippines, there are news like the government is giving 15,000 or 8,000. In your state, what is the kind of money? What is kind of dollars that giving their benefits?
To be honest, I don't know the exact dollar amounts, but I know that they've been offering people money for people who are
For
being
foods?
tested.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
so people who are being tested who then can't go to work,
yes,
they're being offered some benefits, and then people
yes,
who are
benefits.
testing people who are testing positive and then have to quarantine, they're being offered benefits as well. And then there are all sorts of different benefits for small businesses, for businesses that can't operate at this time, and for for individuals as well. So I don't know the exact dollar amounts, but there are the state government here is offering as much as they can.
Because the government must give the money to the people to buy foods, because in the time of lockdown you can't buy food in supermarket. Mostly people in the Philippines in the lockdown are only buying in online. Do you know online store like
Of course, yeah.
eBay, Amazon? Because in the Philippines, eBay and Amazon are not popular website in the Philippines. The most
Why is
popular
that?
the most popular online selling website in the Philippines is Lazada, Carousel. Do you know Carousel?
I
Carousel.
don't know.
Lazada, Carousel, and Shopee.
All right.
That's the because Lazada is an Asian online shopping, not only in the Philippines but also in Singapore. Lazada is very famous in Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand and Vietnam.
And I suppose if it's much more dedicated to your region, then it might be more reliable for
Yes,
your region as well. Is your
Lazada,
order then?
Lazada and Shopee was the Amazon version of the Southeast Asian version of Amazon. Lazada
Right.
and Shopee. Yes.
And do they deliver food as well?
Yes, in Lazada you can buy Pringles. You know,
everyone
yes,
loves Pringles.
grocery, yes, grocery. In Lazada you can buy grocery in. But here is the difference, because in Australia, many online websites in Australia use only credit cards. Do you know debit cards and credit cards? But in the Philippines, in Lazada, you can buy cash on delivery without a credit card. Cash on
Oh,
delivery.
wow.
If the if the mailman goes to your house and give it your food, you will pay into the delivery. Cash on delivery is called.
Well, that's good. I mean, and that's
Yes,
especially good,
to that
obviously, for
service,
people who don't have.
cash on delivery. In the Philippines is very awesome. Not only in the Philippines but also in some Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam
Yeah,
and Indonesia. Cash on delivery is very popular. You can, if you have no credit card, you can buy, because many people in my country have no credit card.
of course.
This is the reason why lockdown in my country is very awesome, because because many Filipino can buy food without in online without a credit card.
That's great.
Compared
I'm very
to
glad to hear that.
compared compared to the first world country like US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, that if you a poor person and you don't have a credit card or debit card, you can buy food in the time of lockdown. You can only buy food if there's no lockdown. What is your book? Can we talk about your book, The Drop Off? What is the drop
Oh,
off?
sure.
Yes.
So the book is based on a web series that we made that's also called The Drop Off, that you can find on Facebook. And a publishing house approached us about writing a book based on the same characters and the same sort of stories. And so my wife and I said yes and instantly got busy. It's a book very much about community and friendship. It's a good book to read now. It's light and it's funny. It's got a lot of heart. We're very proud of it.
The author of the book is you, Mike, and your wife Fiona. Because in Google, if I search your book in Google, the book will appear. The Drop Off book by Fiona Harris and Mike McLeish. What is McLeish surname? Is McLeish is an Irish, Scottish,
Correct. It's
or
Irish.
or
It's Irish.
English? Because there are
It's
many
Irish.
languages in the United Kingdom. There are Welsh. Welsh
Of
mean
course.
the language in Wales. In the UK, in London, the language is in London is English. In in Edinburgh, Scotland, the language is Scottish. But many people in Scotland and Northern Ireland speak English than their native language.
Yes.
Do you have many other books that you author? Can we can you tell
No,
me
this is the
about your
first
other
one.
book?
This
Drop
is
off.
this is our very first novel. We are hoping to write more, and we're already in discussions with our publisher about writing more, but nothing's confirmed yet. But it's something we'd definitely like to do together again. We loved writing the book, and it's something we'd love to keep doing, both separately and together. We have ideas that we want to work on together, and then we also have ideas that we want to work on separately as well. So hopefully between us over the next few years, we'll be releasing a whole bunch of books.
What is what is your favorite occupation to do? Musical theater actor or comedian or comedy or stand up comedy? What is the best job will occupation will you choose?
At the moment, and I think this is true full stop, but my favorite occupation is live performance, whether it's theatre, music theatre, comedy. Performing in front of an audience is my favorite thing in the world to do. For a time when I can do it again.
In let's talk about politics because in your state Melbourne the most popular party is Labour Party. What is the party will you vote in election? Liberal, Labor, or other party like Nick Xenophon,
Oh,
Pauline
well, who do I
Hanson?
think is going to win the next election?
But for me, we will that in the next election that will win is Labor because in some polls the number one is what is the party will you vote when it comes to
I'm personally a fan of this Labor government that we have in Victoria at the moment. I think they're sensible. I think they're compassionate. I think they mean what they say, and I think we all know that's more and more rare in politicians these days. I think the way they've handled this once in 100-year pandemic has been really admirable. So I would like to see them get re-elected.
let's talk about favorite. What is your favorite? What is your favorite musical, Broadway musical?
My favorite Broadway musical. Wow. I would have to say, being quite uneducated on the subject, um, my favorite Broadway musical would be Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
What is your favorite movies, Hollywood movies, or or
My favorite
Australian
Hollywood movie.
movies?
Oh wow!
Favorite Hollywood movies or Australian movies?
I think one of my favorite Hollywood movies of recent years was The Grand Budapest Hotel and maybe Chef, which was directed by Jon Favreau. And I think it was Paul Thomas Anderson who directed
Di pa.
The Grand Budapest Hotel. They're two of my favourites. Australian movies. There are a lot of Australian movies that I love. What's a recent one? Animal Kingdom. There's a lot. There's too many. I can't choose.
because when it comes to Australian movies, because I don't know many Australian movies, but when I was a children in the Philippines, there are many Australian children because when I was a child, I watched many Australian children program like High Five. Do you know High Five?
Of
High
course.
Five. The Huli Doolies. Do you know the Huli Doolies?
Yep, Hooly Doolies.
Yes, the three, Bruce, Antoine, and David.
That's right.
Yes, yeah, yes, and Play School. My favorite cast in Play School is, do you know Teo Gilbert? Do you know Teo?
Teo. I
Teo
think
Gilbert. He was
I
a
think
cast
my
in Play School.
yeah, I think my kids might have been a bit old by that stage, so I think I might have missed out on Teo.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite book?
Food. Food.
Oh, food.
F double
Oh,
O D.
wow. Um, I'm probably my two favorite cuisines are Southeast Asian food
Wow.
and Spanish food, Mexican food. I really like, I love noodle soups. I love spicy food. I love Southeast Asian street food. It's so fresh and inventive, and the flavors just can't be beat. So they're probably my favorites.
Before we end, we will we will react to video on YouTube.
Sorry, say that again?
Before we end, we will react to a to some video on YouTube.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
What are we going to watch? Are you going to tell me, or is it going to be a surprise?
Wait a minute. Just wait.
Sure.
Wait a minute.
And how are you going, John? How are you and your family?
My family in the Philippines are we are I was born in a middle class family. I was born in a middle class family. Wait a minute. Wait.
Sure.
Just wait. Share screen. We will we will make a share screen.
I'm ready.
Yes. Wait a minute. In our reaction video, we will not reacting, but we will sing a last song. The title of the song we will sing is a karaoke song called. Do you know the song?
Oh, you just cut out there. What's the song?
It's a small world after all the in the last
Of
video.
course, I know that song.
Yes, because when I was a child, that song is it, it's my very favorite song.
It was one of
Small
my
world.
favorites too.
It's my favorite song. The internet connection the internet connection in my country is very slow, so just wait a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Just wait a minute. The internet connection is very slow.
No problem, John.
Just wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Yes, let's start now.
I'm
Let's
ready.
start. Share screen. Let's share the screen. Just wait.
I got all the time in the world. Just wait.
Yes. Yes, we are here. Mike. The podcast was interrupted because my internet connection was very slow. So me and Mike cannot react to YouTube videos. I want to thank Mike for guesting to my podcast, and please watch and listen to my podcast in YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Thank you.